Okay, we now have a roster of calls from which to choose, and we're going to start in Kansas City with Marie. Marie, thank you for calling. Great to have you on the program today. How are you?
I'm fine, and it's an honor to speak with you.
Thank you. Same here. I'm glad you got through.
Well, yes, it wasn't too hard. My comment, I haven't heard anybody else say this, but I do believe people feel this way. When Michelle Obama was talking about the hopelessness and, the lack of hope and how things will be so awful, well, now she feels the way we felt 8 years ago. That was my thought.
That's true. Although I think there's much more to this than a little bit of reciprocity. You know, where does this come from? I mean, you could say, for example, what about the people who voted for Trump? I mean, how about people who haven't had a raise in 15 years, or are people that have been forced to pay through the nose the money they don't have for health care or face a fine for it, or people who are watching the borders of their country be erased? I mean, that's not just hopelessness, that's anger. But what interests me more than anything about all this is Michelle Obama's attitude that allows her to acknowledge feeling hopeless. She said she didn't feel proud of her country until her husband was nominated for president. And now that he's leaving, she's back to feeling hopeless again. And look where she lives. And look at the airplane she flies on. And look at the parties that she throws. And look at all of the advantages that she has had because of being in America, and yet she runs around. You know what her favorite word is, Marie? Struggle. No. Struggle. Every time Michelle Obama does a personal appearance somewhere, it is about the struggle. And that's what I want to delve into. But before I get there, I need to ask you, what kind of new iPhone would you like, a 7 or a 7 Plus?
Ooh, I think a 7 Plus.
7 Plus. Who's your carrier?
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile. Okay, so pick your color. I think we've got every color.
I think rose gold.
Rose gold. All right. I know I'm getting down to, but I do think I've got one in there for you. If not, if I'm out of rose gold, which I do think I have one, I'll send you a gold one.
Okay.
All right. Now, it may have an AT&T SIM card in it, Marie, but it'll work on T-Mobile. The phone I'm sending will work on either one of those. The phone's unlocked. So take your current phone and the new one to the T-Mobile store and tell them you want to move your number to it, and they'll take care of you. Now, don't hang up. Mr. Snerdley needs to get your address so we can get this out to you. This is week 5, my friends. This is the 5th week now of every caller being offered a brand new iPhone 7 or iPhone 7 Plus. And every caller today also gets a 1-year subscription to Rush 24/7 and a copy of the latest Rush Revere book, Rush Revere and the Presidency. What interests me about Michelle Obama and the struggle, I am viewed as one not down with the struggle. Now, here's Michelle Obama, who is living a life in the top 1% of the top 1%. She has traveled more places in the world than most people will even dream of going. She has lived in one of the finest homes in America. She flies around on the finest airplane and the safest and most secure airplane known to exist. And when that one's not available, she gets one of her own. If she wants to go to Hawaii a couple days before her husband, they put her on an equally large, or close to it, large airplane with family and her kids and her mother. And vacations are all paid for. Meals are all paid for the most part. And her husband earns $400,000 a year doing this, which they can pretty much bank all of it because most of their expenses are covered. And yet Michelle Obama continues to talk about the struggle. Now, she's a leftist, and I know what the struggle is. And frankly, folks, I'm growing weary of it. The struggle is the premise that minorities do not have a prayer in America. The deck is so stacked against them that they don't have a chance. And this struggle to overcome this great injustice is never ending. She speaks of the struggle, and you have to call it the struggle, not the struggle, it's SH, the struggle. Every time she makes a public speech, it is a feature of practically every speech that she makes. And what does it do? It reinforces the legitimacy of the struggle. Why would you want to depress people? Why would you not want to inspire them? Why would you not want to use your own example as a way of inspiring others to also attempt to achieve in a like manner? Why would you want to present your own success as an aberration and something that is not because of the greatness of America, that your success, in other words, her husband being elected, happened despite America? It is this ongoing reference of the struggle that I think keeps people permanently in an attitude, a mental attitude of impossibility. And it's an unjust, unfair portrayal of America today that I just don't think is helpful. Tied behind my back just to make it fair. By the way, part and parcel of Michelle Obama and her husband talking about the struggle is that they try to make it look like, or make it appear, that everybody's up against this struggle. And what gets me about it is that it's an argument that this country's unjust and immoral and unfair, and I just my patience for this is wearing out, because it's a never-ending thing. No matter how much progress is made, there's never any acknowledgement of it. Whatever progress is made is ignored, or sometimes even turned around and said to be an example of the inherent immorality of the country since the founding. And I know what it's all rooted in. I mean, these people are socialists. They don't like capitalism, and they're trying to transform or overthrow the country and make it into a different thing. But at some point, it wears people out. And I think this election, people don't want to hear these things about their country. They don't want to think that this is the country they live in. And they don't think this is the country they live in. Anyway, another example here of the left having lost its mind.